In this short video, I'm going to show you how to get through the assignment for week 4 in ITSC 1401 at El Centro College. This is our continuation of the CSS process. We've already started to talk about CSS. We have created an HTML file that now needs to have some CSS modeling to get along with. I have some information about the box model. It's not too much here, just some basic things to know about how the box model works. We'll go deeper into this later in the semester. Just know that CSS helps HTML. It helps the web file actually determine what the spacing in between things and objects are. And I'm going to slide down and go to the assignment, CSS Designer. We've done this before. It was called assignment 2 a long time ago, but we're continuing to use it because it's a good primer for CSS. I have 2 files that I'm sharing with you. One's the CSS recipe and the other one is a folder full of images. We'll be using it to turn in, or rather to turn the page that we've already done into something like this, a CSS Designer. Actually, it's based on the model that we've already done. Let me see if I can get to. I know I can get to my my visual code. This inside of week 3, we did this index page that has all of this stuff, and it was published. This actually is this page, except this one has styling. We're going to be adding all of the styling to the page. I can go and find this page by looking at my GitHub. And in my GitHub, I have my repository, ITSC 1401. This is my username. Inside there, I have the files for this website, ITSC 1401. That's my username, .github.io. And then inside of there, I'll go back a little bit to show you that I have a directory called week 3 and then a couple of files. I'll click on week 3. My index.html is the file that I'm talking about. This is the same code that I just showed you on Visual Studio. However, GitHub allows us to do this. I don't know. It's a cool thing, I guess. I'm going to highlight the index all the way to the name of the repository. Right click and tell it to copy. Sorry, you can't see that. I'm clicking on copy. And in a new tab, I'm going to paste and tell it to go to this thing that I just copied. So assignment 2, page 1 through 5, a whole bunch of levels of headings, and down to a copyright page. This actually, we're going to make it look like this, CSS Designer page. All the colors and the graphics we'll be adding on along the way. So now that you know what we're doing, know this one thing. We'll be referencing mostly to this page on week 3, but we're not going to use it. We're going to make a copy of this. In order to do that, before we get started, I'm going to open up my Visual Studio, which I already have open. I just showed you this page that is called assignment 2, but we're going to call something else. The thing is, so week 3, we've already done it, so we're moving on to week 4. But because we want this same page to keep on using, I'm going to click on the week 3 folder. You'll notice that the little caret on the side here keeps on turning up and down. It's pointing down to show me that inside of this folder there's more files. If I click on it again, it just shows me the name of the folder, and then it gives me a link next to it. It shows me where it is in my hard drive. I'll click on it again because I want this index file actually for my week 4. So I'm going to click on week 3 and then right-clicking using the right button on the mouse and tell it to copy it. So I've just copied week 3 folder and the contents of the folder, and I'm going to paste it back into the site. And I don't want it on top of this week 3. I want it actually in my root folder, itsc1401.github.io. So I will hover on top of that, right click and tell it to paste. I don't see that right away. Why don't I stick then on week 3 and tell it to paste there? See where it ends up? Well, actually it's pretty good because I have a week 3 and then I have a week 3 copy. Week 3 space copy helps nobody. Spaces are not useful in web design at all. And if you learn one thing from this whole web page design course is don't use spaces in file names ever, no matter if you're in a PC or in a Mac. So I'm going to right click and find the rename, and I'm going to then delete the copy part and the 3 because I already have a folder that's called week 03, and type in the number 4. Week 04 is now my new folder. It's a copy of week 3. It also contains an index.html, which is the same file as the index.html on week 3. I'm going to click on the caret on week 3 so it goes away. So my index.html is now published inside of week 4, and I'm going to then find at the bottom of my Visual Studio this little icon here. It tells me how many files there are in the whole thing, and I'm going to tell it to synchronize the changes. Sorry you can't see that it's giving me the option to synchronize changes, but that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to click on it, and it tells me that this action will push and pull commits to and from. So basically it's going to check the file, see what changed, and if something changed in my local folder that is on my computer at home, then it will send it to the server for GitHub to update. I'll click OK, and the little arrows are turning, which means that it's pushing, and that should be it. I should be able then to go back to my browser. See if I can find that page again. This is ITSE 1401 github.io, and I think that this is still week 3. I'm going to change that week 3 to week 4. And it's probably going to take a little while before it gets there, but it's giving me an error right now. But I'm pretty sure that eventually I'll be able to see it. In the meantime, I'm going to go back into my Visual Code. I see that I have some messages in my Git. Over here it says, oh, that I have to give it a message that I made some updates. So I can say something like updated week 3 and press enter. Or rather than that, click on the commit check mark. Wait a little bit, tell it to refresh just so that I'm sure that something's going on. All the buttons, most of the buttons are okay. I have a little 1 at the bottom, a notification. I'll click to see if anything else pops up. I have a command palette, etc. I don't know what it's trying to tell me, so I'll go and check on my browser again. However, one thing that I can do in Visual Studio is, if I go back, is just check to see that everything is refreshed. In the Explorer, my index, I have this 1 that's kind of bugging me. If I right click, anything happens. Color theme, restart to update, no. I'm going to tell it, what do I tell it? I'll make sure that my index, my week 4, my index are selected, and tell them here, if I click on the source control, do the check mark to commit and just give it a comment that says that updated files for week 4 and check mark, and refresh and see if anything pushes, and click on the 3 dots and tell it to push. Push hopefully will then be taking all of these files and sending them up to the browser, or rather the server. And let me see what that actually entails. If I can go back to my browser, and here's my GitHub page where I have the week 4, ITSE 1401, go back to my repository, and I see that now I have a week 4 folder, and there's my index file. I'm going to reload my missing page, and then I see the copy of index page for week 4 that I made from week 3. It still says assignment 2, and that's fine because that's the changes that we're going to be making in the next video. So far, hopefully you were able to make a copy of your week 3 folder and the index file and publish it as week 4 with its own index.